Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs with me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. And today we're going to have a transfer roundup of what has happened from yesterday to today. And we've got some biggies to talk about. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to support the video with a like and make sure you post your comments below about your views on the people that we've been linked with. So let's just jump straight into the big one, which I could have reported on yesterday and decided not to because I thought this situation would happen. So Lus Diaz, the Porto winger, 25 years old, a goal scorer, an assist maker, so he's a creator, he works hard. We put in a supposed bid of £37.6 million. That was rejected by Porto. Fabrizio Romano has reported that we actually have representatives in Portugal trying to thrash out a deal. So that rejected bid is just the start of an open conversation between us and Porto. Now, issues that could arise with this deal. He has a £66 million release clause. So Porto are obviously going to want to get as close to that as they can. The issues that they have, and this is the reason why it's such a high fee, is apparently they only own 80% of Lus Diaz as a player, which you find with South American players. We've seen it with the likes of Tevez in the past. So it's not a strange thing to us whatsoever. It just makes the deal a little bit more complicated in terms of where the money's going, who's getting what, does the other party want to be greedy. So yeah, it is what it is. But in terms of the player himself, the reason why he's someone to look forward to, if we can get him over the line, he fits a Conte way of playing greatly. He presses high, he scores, he assists, he can play anywhere across the front line, which means people like Sonny, Bergwijn, Mora, they can have more of a rest. They don't have to play full games. When they're looking tired, we can replace them. If not, he can start the game himself. So that bid was rejected, but it doesn't mean that this is done whatsoever. We're going to stay out there. The reason why our representatives are in Portugal is because we are serious about this. A lot of these deals in the transfer windows in January are normally done over the phone, just because it's a short window and you're trying to make things happen. So let's talk about him. This season so far, 14 goals. He's got assists as well. He was joint Golden Boot winner in the Copa America alongside Messi. Let's not get too carried away. It was only 4 goals. It's not like setting the world alight. His youth career was at Barranquilla in Colombia. Then he moved to Athletic Junior, another Colombian team in the same area. Then he was snapped up by Porto. One of the key features of his game, which is why Conte would like this player, is his ability to win the ball back in the final third. This is something that he does a lot, which means he's someone you can use in the high press, which is something that we found success with under Pochettino, and it dwindled further and further away, including in the end of Pochettino's reign. So to have a player like this that is used to pressing so high and successfully doing it is great. Now, if you look at all of his stats from this season, his goal scoring, assists, his amount of touches, passes, ball retention, he is up there in the top 4 for pretty much everything within the Portuguese league. Now, I know you might say, Portuguese league, is it that difficult? All right. No, it's not. The Premier League is a massive step up. But however, these are good stats, an exciting player, 25 years old, very good age. So I can understand why they're going for him. We'll keep an eye on this one. It's not done. There are other complications in the terms of, we don't know if he's definitely going to want to come to us. Fabrizio Romano seems to think that there shouldn't be a problem. However, I would argue there's a possibility that, are we going to get Champions League football? I feel like we'll get some form of European football this season based on the way we're improving under Conte. It's just, what will that be, and is that an attractive offer for a player like Diaz? However, he has stressed in the past that Premier League would be a dream move for him. So it's just a question of whether Tottenham is an attractive enough place to go when there are other teams like Liverpool that have shown interest in the past. So we'll see how that one goes. Let's now move on to one of the more underwhelming, but I will tell you the reasons why it's not underwhelming. So a potential loan deal for Sofiane Amrabat. There are a lot of people that would have been like, never heard of him. I hadn't heard too much of him, but when you delve into the past, when he was at Hellas Verona, had a great time there. He was one of the most highly rated midfielders in Italy. Moves across to Fiorentina. So he was brought in there by one manager. They had a managerial change, which is why he hasn't featured too much this season. So a lot of people have obviously looked at, once we were linked, they've looked at this season and gone, but he's not playing, which is naively what I did to start with. And then I've looked into it. So the reason why he's not being used currently this season is with a new manager, there usually comes a change of system. So it's just things aren't going quite well for him at the moment, maybe not fitting into that system, not fancied by this manager. He would fit into a Conte system, which is probably why he's on Paratici's radar. So just because he's struggling this season doesn't make him a bad player. We've seen this with players in the past. They've had some dodgy seasons, then boom, they've exploded into a great player. So the potential is on this one, a loan deal with the potential to buy for about 12.6 million, which is 15 million euros. He himself is yet to say yes to this. He has no goals or assists in 45 games for Fiorentina, which is the worry on that one. Only played in 11 games in Serie A this season, so if he was to come to Spurs, you'd probably think he needs to get up to scratch in terms of fitness. He's currently representing Morocco in the African Cup of Nations, but this could be a potentially decent signing. If we get a few midfielders out the door, Dele Alli, Tanguy Ndombele, the possibility of Giovanni Lo Celso, Brian Hill, which I find is a weird one considering he's not been here very long. And then this is somebody we could bring in that would fit into the system and could be on rotation with other players. So that's that one. Let's talk about one that I spoke about the other day. So that is the Franck Kessie situation. At the time of the video, a lot of people were moaning, saying there was nothing agreed. My argument to that is I never said it was a done deal. I just said we've agreed deals. And we had. Tottenham had agreed a deal with AC Milan, not Franck Kessie. And if I was to put in the title all the details, well, then you would have a title of a video that's about a paragraph long, and that wouldn't make you want to watch the video. So the situation is that obviously his contract is coming to an end. AC Milan will lose him for free. So when Tottenham come in for a cash offer, they accepted it for the pure fact to get some money in is better than him going for free. And that would have suited us as well, because then we don't have to face competition at the end of the season. Franck Kessie himself at the African Cup of Nations with the Ivory Coast has been presented with a deal by AC Milan, has said no for the pure fact that, one, he wants to win a Scudetto. AC Milan haven't won a title in 10 years, so for him to have a title win would be great if they can get that over the line. Then the other factor that if he's not being sold, that means he's going for free, which means the club aren't stumping up cash. So therefore he can ask for a bigger signing on fee, more wages, higher agent fee. It works for the whole of his team. It's beneficial. So in that sense, greedy, but I kind of get it. So reports are coming out. He's actually signed he hasn't signed. He's been talking to Barcelona and has agreed a pre-contract deal with them. So that is going to be his likely destination in the summer. So that one, dead. As for Traore, 3 different reports came out. So the reports on the day that I made the video were the fact that we'd agreed a deal with Wolves. Not the player, Wolves. Then the following day, reports then came out. Tottenham said that we haven't bid at all for him the whole transfer window. Wolves came out and said, you have. We rejected a £15 million offer. And then you had Adama Traore's representative saying, well, we've agreed personal terms with Spurs. So you've got 3 very different stories, all about the same player. And they're all coming out of the mouths of the clubs and the representatives themselves. So that one's a bit tricky and it's getting a bit annoying. Apparently Spurs are now pushing for a loan deal with an option to buy. I kind of get that, because if it doesn't work out, then you don't have to buy him. Look, I get it, but we just want players in, and we know that Conte's has success with wingers in the past. So, you know, for me, it kind of makes sense. Now let's move on to Ollie Tanner. So one of you in the comments actually asked if I could talk about Ollie Tanner himself. So this is not an exciting one in terms of now. This is a prospect for the future. Ollie Tanner, currently at Lus FC, which I believe is the 7th tier of football. They're in the Isthmian Premier League. He's a 19-year-old. He's being tracked by Brighton as well. Apparently we are in pole position for him, and that comes from the fact that he's actually been at Spurs and trained with us. So we've had a good look at him. Manager of Lus FC, Tony Russell, has told The Athletic that an offer has been put on the table by a Premier League club. Hasn't disclosed which one it is. Expects that Ollie Tanner, who came through the ranks at Arsenal as well as Charlton, been in their academy, talented left winger. There's been comparisons to Gareth Bale. Yeah, manager has said that it's on the table from a Premier League club, but didn't disclose which one. Is it us? I don't know. Is it a good one for the future? Possibly. But as we've said, like, he's trained with us, so we've got a good idea of how he compares to our youngsters. But we haven't seen him in game at the level that we're playing at. So not really sure on that one, but could possibly be a good one for the future. Another one, a player that we've been offered. So we have been offered, and this is through agents, not through the club. He currently plays for Angers in France. We've been offered Mohamed Ali Cho. So he is an 18-year-old, not long turned 18. So you've got to remember, he's been playing in the first team at Angers as a 17-year-old. He's scored 2 goals for them so far, which is not bad for someone his age, considering Scarlett has been in our first team, played a few games without such success. So he is a talented forward, very highly rated in France. Considered one of the brightest attacking prospects in Ligue 1, valued at 16.8 million, which is about 20 million euros. Apparently he's been offered to us, so that'll be by the agent, not by the club. Chelsea and Southampton have also tracked the player in the past. He was born in France, raised in England, to Ivorian and Moroccan parents, so he could represent several places. He's already represented England under 16s, France under 21s, where he's had 5 appearances for them this season. So he's got a long way to go until he's ready for the Spurs first team, but he's had good team experience. So this one, if it's going to happen, I would assume is going to be like the Sarr situation, where we buy him and loan him straight back. Potential to be a great signing for the future. We will see. There is going to be another video coming out today, and that is going to be talking about Tanguy Ndombele and Dele Alli's situation. So those are the possible incomings. So the video that I will do later will be about possible outgoings. So that will include the likes of Brian Hill, Giovanni Lo Celso, Dele Alli and Tanguy Ndombele. So just remember, this is the January transfer window, and I know we are desperate to get people in and get people out. But things that make this window difficult usually are increased by the fact that we've obviously got COVID around. Players and staff and bubbles are going through cases all the time. So we usually strike deals late anyway in the January transfer window, because that's just the way Daniel Levy operates. The risks are players that we want will already be sold. We've seen that with our target, Julian Alvarez from River Plate. He's going to be heading to Manchester City for not a lot of money either, less than 20 million. Could have been a great player, but even if we'd have gone in at the same time as Man City, they'd have pipped us to him anyway. So I'm not overly fussed about that, but we could have had him in the summer. And that's where the frustration comes in. The risk is players you want can already be sold to other clubs. Conte is also making us sound desperate, which means prices will go up. He keeps mentioning that the club need to back him, which, yes, they do. They do need to back him in the transfer market. Stop making it so public, though, because people are going to look at it and go, right, Spurs need players in, let's whack a few million more on it. And Daniel Levy doesn't like to negotiate, so therefore we miss out. The plus sides are more players become available sometimes as the window goes on, because teams will look for players to bring in. When they bring a player in, somebody else becomes surplus to requirements. Therefore, players we didn't know were available can become available throughout the window. Other problems, as I said, COVID and players at the African Cup of Nations. It doesn't make it completely difficult, because medicals can still be done by these players when they're away on international duty. Obviously, other players are now on international duty once now we're in the winter break. So it doesn't create too many problems. There are things in place by the clubs, but that is your possible incoming players for today, and we will talk later about possible outgoings. The Tanguy Ndombele one is interesting. I'll just give you a little tease on that. It's the fact that Tottenham have accepted a loan offer from Valencia for him. Tanguy Ndombele hasn't come out and accepted that yet, because he's holding out for PSG, but the offer is there. Valencia are not the most attractive, because they're, what, 10th in the table in La Liga, I think. So they've got a lot of work to do to prize him away. But if he wants out of Spurs, it's a possible option. So we'll talk about that later. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Hit it with a like, post your comments below, and I will talk to you later. But until then, come on you Spurs.